So as it turns out, there's another person who thinks that Joe Flacco should not win Comeback Player of the Year. That's right, Joe freaking Flacco himself. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Gary, and I'm representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the AP Comeback Player of the Year award. There were 5 people nominated as finalists. You had, besides Damar, Hamlin, you had 4 quarterbacks listed. You had Baker Mayfield, you had Tua Tagovailoa, you had Matthew Stafford, and of course you had Joe Flacco, who was sort of the betting favorite alongside Damar Hamlin to win this award. But an interesting twist happened when Joe Flacco just admitted that he should not be nominated for this award. He should not win this award. Now, there's no set criteria for Comeback Player of the Year. That's a major flaw in the award. It could be given to overcoming poor performance, a catastrophic injury, just not being good, coming back from the dead. Who knows what Comeback Player of the Year truly entails? The voters have no criteria whatsoever. They're left to their own will to decide how to vote on this award. But Joe Flacco essentially taking his name out of the race with these comments that he made. He talked about Comeback Player of the Year and his nomination, and he was very confused. He says, I don't necessarily know what I'm coming back from. I would say most of the guys on that list, I'm not sure what we're coming back from, so that's probably my initial reaction. Probably referring to Baker Mayfield and Tua Tagovailoa. Matthew Stafford came back from an injury, and Damar Hamlin obviously came back from the dead, but Stafford and Tua, not really a whole lot there. Same thing with Flacco. Flacco said, I'm just coming back from being old and from not being on a team for a couple of months. And he would give the award to Hamlin, saying, I don't know how many snaps he played. I just think mentally, to get yourself back to the point where you feel comfortable doing that kind of thing is pretty cool. So Joe Flacco essentially taking his name out of the race. I don't know if the voters are going to do anything about that. But look, easy criteria for me. When one player says, I don't deserve this, that's the end of it. They don't deserve it. It's a bad look to have a player concede the award and then give the award to them. Look, the last 5 Comeback Player of the Years have been quarterbacks. Now, Andrew Luck deserved it. Alex Smith absolutely deserved it. Joe Burrow absolutely deserved it. Geno Smith just came back from being bad. Ryan Tannehill in 2018, yes, he played through pain, but he did play the majority of the season, and he closed it out, and he did win the award in 2019. Do we really need another quarterback-driven award? Joe Flacco doesn't seem to think so, especially because he admitted back in September that he's not coming back from anything. Before he even signed with the Browns, he admitted that he still felt great mentally and physically. He said this back in September. I still believe that I have all of the athletic and physical tools to do it. In terms of the quarterback and the mental part of it, I've only gotten better over the last 15 years. So I feel just as physical as I ever have. I mean, not to say that I'm 27, 28 years old anymore, but I'm in great shape, and I don't see a real drop-off. So there you have it. Back in September even, Joe Flacco was very consistent in his stance, saying, look, I'm not coming back from anything. I'm just old. I'm not coming back from anything whatsoever. Do not give this award to me. And his stance is the same in January as he is a finalist. Now, Flacco winning, if he does win, would be absolutely unprecedented. A player not on a team for a few months has never won the award in the 30 or so years it's been given out. If you add this criteria, the already confusing criteria gets even more confusing. And here's my thing with Joe Flacco in this situation. First off, I commend Joe Flacco for those comments and for being honest and saying, look, I'm just old. I didn't come back from anything. I don't deserve this award. Damar Hamlin came back from the dead. He deserves the award. But what makes Joe Flacco any different from Corey Peters last year? If you don't know, Jaguars defensive tackle Corey Peters last year, he was in his mid-30s. He was on this couch to start the season off. He was not very good. The Jaguars signed him, and then he became one of the most important players on that defense. He balled out against the run. The Jags don't make the playoffs without him. Simply put, they don't make the playoffs without him. That Week 18 game against the Tennessee Titans, the winning game on national TV, he played lights out. He was maybe the best player on the field. He was a phenomenal run-stuffing defensive tackle for the Jaguars in 2022. He never got any love for Comeback Player of the Year, and rightfully so, because he came back from nothing. He just came back from sitting on his couch after no team signed him. I'm not saying Peters deserved it at all. Again, I'm not saying Geno Smith deserved the award last year. I would have given it to Christian McCaffrey, but Corey Peters did not deserve the award. But he was not even in the discussion. He was on a finalist. No one was talking about Peters. Isn't it a bit hypocritical if no one was talking about Corey Peters last year, but we're talking about Joe Flacco this year, when it's pretty much the same exact situation? It just seems a bit odd in my mind, because both those players, obviously the position is a bit different, but it seems like identical situations, but one of them we're talking about as the betting favor for Comeback Player of the Year, even though there was someone that literally came back from the dead, and the other one, in a pretty weak field, all things considered, doesn't even get a nomination or any consideration whatsoever. That's just my take on that situation. Again, Joe Flacco essentially conceding the award to Damar Hamlin, dropping himself out of the race. Whether the voters will take that into account, I have no clue. Hopefully they do. But Joe Flacco is saying, I do not deserve to win Comeback Player of the Year. It'll be very awkward if he has to give a speech after everything he just said. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Joe Flacco deserves Comeback Player of the Year? Do you agree with what Flacco said? Do you like the fact that he essentially conceded the race? Do you think Damar Hamlin should win? Let me know all your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JG9 News. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, Jaguar Gamer 9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, Jaguar Gamer 9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.